So in this eye, you can see chronic bowels. You see all this section here. This is ascending colon. It has a transverse colon. It has a descending colon. You have enlarged bowels. It's often due to a weak parathyroid as well as the diet you've been following for a while. Okay, there's sulfur and candida in the bowels. Okay. In fact, there's sulfur and candida almost every location. Not the yellow. That's subacute lymph stagnation with potential sulfur and candida. So you should use a parasite tincture to address this. You have a skin ring, that dark ring going around the pupil. That's a skin ring. It indicates that the skin is not eliminating waste effectively, and also that the kidney is weak when it comes to kidney filtration. And plus, it also indicates a weak thyroid. So we got to address the thyroid as well. So use a thyroid tincture. You also can see a purple hue around the iris. This indicates cholesterol, high cholesterol. There's also a purple hue in the actual pupil. That's cholesterol as well. Potential eye issues. The body uses cholesterol to fight acids, to bind to acids to protect you. So when you see high acidosis, you will see high cholesterol as well. This can be dealt with the 100% fruit diet and the herbs. You can see retinitis solaris, fine lines leaching out of the pupil. This indicates toxic tunnels of waste leaching out to other body parts and glands, especially the brain section right here. The hair and scalp region is also congested with lymph. Again, it's the dark side. It's potential hair and scalp issues as well. The malabsorption ring around the pupil indicates that you're not absorbing nutrients properly due to mucus plaque in the small intestine. The malabsorption ring, the mucus plaque on it will stop the absorption of nutrients. Okay, so we need to clean it up with the bowel cleanser, and as well as herbs for the bowels to strengthen the bowels as well. You have a lymphatic rosary. Those are dots. You can see it almost like beads going across. Okay, this indicates swollen lymph nodes or stagnant lymph nodes. You want to move that with the 100% fruit diet and use the herbal tincture called Lymphatic One to help push and move the lymph system. You have drug deposits. Okay, those dots there are drug deposits, or they could be crypts, meaning there's lack of energy flow to and from the tissue cells. So right here you can see a chronic pituitary gland, okay, and you can also see a chronic pineal gland. Remember what I said, the pituitary gland is the gland that controls all the other endocrine glands and needs to be in good working order. I will use the pituitary glandular and endocrine tincture, or a pituitary tincture as well, okay? And for the pineal, you use a pineal glandular. You want to get these in good working order. Right here is the eyes. See, it's moving to the chronic side, okay? The eyes, the nose, the upper jaw, okay, the lower jaw, mouth, tongue region, all these are sinuses essentially. Heavy lymph stagnation, congestion is moving to the chronic side. I would use a neti pot, eucalyptus oil. I would use a neurolymphatic massage at the back of the head to the upper back. I would also use horseradish root to break the mucus. Okay, anything you can do to break the sinuses and relieve congestion and allow the mucus and lymph to move freely. The thyroid is located right here, okay, and beside is the parathyroid, and here are the tonsils. They're all covered with lymph. Okay, you have nerve rings going across them as well. So when the thyroid is weak, you get a skin ring, as you do have here right here. Okay, so we need to address the thyroid. Maybe use a thyroid tincture. The tonsils are the main lymph node of the head region, and when they are congested, you can have sinus issues, potential. And you always want it to be in good working order. If you use the lymphatic herbs, 100% fruit diet, this should take care of itself. The parathyroid is what's responsible for calcium utilization. So bone, skin integrity, tissue integrity is all to the parathyroid, okay? And you can always use the endocrine herbs to help strengthen the parathyroid as well. Right here is the voice box region. You can see it's heavy with lymph stagnation. Right here is the esophagus, and right here is the scapular region, all heavy with lymph stagnation, covered with lymph. So we can address this throat region by using respiratory T and respiratory 1 tincture. Right here is the upper back region. Okay, you can see it's quite heavy with lymph stagnation. There's a drug deposit here between the upper back and the upper clavicle region. And right here is the middle back region, also some drug deposits, and right here is the lower back region. The spine runs right here, so it's all covered with lymph. Okay, use the circulation tinctures to help boost blood flow to this region. The bladder is located right here, and beside it is the vagina and uterus region. The uterus right here and the vagina. In a male, this would be the prostate, here would be the penis region. It's all covered with lymph, heavy lymph stagnation. I would use the female reproductive tincture here to address this region. Right here is where the adrenals are located. You can see heavy lymph stagnation on it, and right here is where the kidneys are. When the adrenals are weak, you're going to have the nerve rings, which you do, and you're going to have the autonomic nerve wreath around the bowels, which you do. When the kidneys are weak, you have lymph stagnation, okay, because the kidneys are not filtering out acids. It will stagnate and build up. Okay, so when you use a kidney tincture, use an adrenal tincture, and adrenal glandular if you have to get these working well. Right here is the right foot, knee, and thigh region. Okay, how heavy lymph stagnation, congestion. Right here, this dark line here are the kidneys, and right here is where the adrenals are. You can see heavy limb stagnation, congestion. Okay, you want this to be cleaned up because the adrenals is what is responsible for controlling the kidneys and other automatic nerve movements. When they're weak, you have the nerve rings, which you do going round and round. You also have the autonomic nerve wreath around here. Okay, around the bowels. So we need to address that. Use an adrenal tincture and adrenal glandular. For the kidneys, if you don't work properly, you're going to have limb stagnation, which you do. It's quite heavy. So I'll work on the kidneys. Use a kidney tincture and a kidney tea as well to help open up filtration so you can remove and clean up the lymph system. Right here is the right foot, knee, and thigh region. You can see it's quite heavy with lymph stagnation, and then nerve rings going across it as well. Okay, weak nervous system. Right here is the groin, urethra, and the pelvis region. You can see it's quite heavy with lymph stagnation, congestion. Right here is where the testes and ovaries would be, okay? And the pancreas is right here. So the pancreas is the chronic side, and the testes and ovaries, between of your male and female, also moving to the subacute level of lymph stagnation. Use the female reproductive tincture to address this side. Right here is where the arm and hands would be, and right here is where the gallbladder is, and right here is where the liver is. You can see quite heavy with lymph stagnation, congestion. The liver is the chemical factory of the body. It's what transmutes chemicals in the body, so you want it in good working order. And the top part there, that's the gallbladder, is responsible for the metabolism of fats, as well as proteins and carbohydrates. So you want both in good working order. Use the pancreas and liver tincture to address this. Right here is where the diaphragm is located, and right here, this section right here is the chest, ribs, and thorax region. You can see it's quite heavy with lymph stagnation. The breast is located right here. So you can see nerve rings going across it and quite a bit of stagnant lymph, the yellowish. So we need to address this by using a circulation tincture. Right here is the lower and upper lung region. You can see also quite heavy of lymph. It's covered with lymph all over the place. So use a respiratory tea and use a respiratory 1 tincture to help break the mucus in this region. Right here is where the shoulder and neck region is located, as well as the ears. You can see heavy lymph stagnation, congestion. Beside it is the medulla, mastoid, and the cerebellum region. These parts are responsible for dizziness, equilibrium, and balancing. Cerebellum is what's responsible for the main communication between the brain and the rest of the body, so you want it in good working order. When the mastoid and medulla are weak, you're going to have dizziness, equilibrium, and balancing issues. So we want to address this quickly. Right here is where the sex impulse is, okay, and the forehead beside it, all covered with lymph. The brain section, all the sections, the brain section is heavy with lymph stagnation or congestion. So I would use a neurological 1 tincture and a circulation tincture to help move the mucus here and move the lymph system, as well as to boost blood flow. And the very top part here is the hair and scalp region, also quite heavy with lymph stagnation and congestion. And potential hair issues might arise. So in this eye, the bowels are the most pressing thing here. The nerve rings are second. The kidney filtration has to be worked on, as well as the adrenals, because you have lymph everywhere. You have swollen lymph nodes or stagnant lymph nodes, and that has to be addressed with the lymphatic herbs. You gotta fix the sweat more often so to get the skin to open up. You know, go have some fruits to address the acidosis and the cholesterol. It take a bit of time because you have quite a bit of stagnation, and this can take time. The yellow is sulfur and candida, so clean the bowels with a bowel cleanser. Use a parasite tincture, it's called antimicrobial, to get rid of excess candida. Okay, it will take a bit of time, but if you go have some fruits and use the herbs suggested, this should improve vastly.